This year's cotton crop is forecast to be slightly higher than in 2008, even though the crop was planted a month behind schedule. The Monitor's Ryan Naquin shows us why Georgia producers plan on having a successful yield.
Most Georgia farmers aren't accustomed to having an empty field in the month of April. But this year's heavy rains that washed through the state had them waiting on their fields to dry out. But for Toombs County cotton grower Chris Hopkins, planting late was a blessing in disguise.
We were a little later planting than we would like to, but we still were able to plant with moisture. So at least if we had to plant late, we started with moisture.
During the early stages of the crop's development, providing moisture to the plant gives farmers the best chance to produce the most yields. And Hopkins says a crop stand is half the battle.
If we start with a poor stand, it costs the same amount to irrigate it, same amount to pick it and harvest it, fertilize it, control insects and diseases on a poor stand as it does a good stand. So getting that initial stand is important. So that early soil moisture is so critical for us.
Water is a hot commodity these days, and Hopkins irrigates about 1/3 of his cotton. However, he hopes in the future the farming industry as a whole can find ways to irrigate even more land.
If we want to continue to strive and make this a profitable venture, we have to continue to look at opportunities to put water on farms. As a young producer, that's my #1 goal, is to continue to be able to put water on those places which I own or rent.
On Hopkins' farm, getting moisture to the plant isn't the only reason he's producing what looks to be a successful crop. He's gone back to some old practices that he says were successful in the early 1990s. This year he's cultivated his land, handpicked some of his weeds, and used pre-emergence herbicides.
So it's worth spending a little extra sweat and time, as well as a little bit extra money, to save those herbicide systems that work so well for us. The days of just applying one herbicide, I feel like, are over with.
Hopkins says technology has advanced tremendously since the 90s, and it's allowed him to harvest more acres alone. But it's also taken him away from those practices that he says work.
It's made us forget those basic fundamentals we knew of pre-plant and residual herbicides. And so we have to get back to that fundamental knowledge that we knew 20 years ago would continue to keep us in business and be able to battle weeds.
And now that same weather that made Hopkins wait during the planting season is making him wait again.
I've often said we make or lose a crop in August. So right now we are at that critical point in early to mid-August that we need that pivotal rain right now to go ahead and push this crop on into what's shaping up to be a good-looking crop as a whole.
A good-looking crop that has gone backwards to get ahead. For the Georgia Farm Monitor, I'm Ryan Naquin.